I just want to come on here and say, um, I had a dream one time that um the world was like eating in fire and water, and it's both happening at the same time. And the fire part started when it got dark outside, like it was gonna rain. The clouds it was really gray and cloudy outside, like it's gonna rain. And 75% of people in the world were still here. There was not that many people that went to heaven. I looked in the dream, and people that lived down the road where I used to live at, majority of them were left behind, and they didn't go to heaven. They were angry, and I thought like in a dream that I was still alive in a dream, and I was like an angel, and I was faster than the speed of light. I was so fast, but only certain people could see me. That of the ones that were left behind, only certain ones could see. Even some people's kids were left behind. Some people are gonna basically where I was saying it, like some people were in the dream were like doing what they were brainwashed to believe was best for their kids. And really it wasn't best for their kids. It was making sure that because they listened to what this world thought was best for the kids, and it ended up making sure that their kids were left behind with them. Not that many kids were left behind because it was like something happened and they got rid of a lot of the kids in the world in the dream. And while this is going on, it was like a small, I don't know where, country somewhere. It was a small European country. It looked like, appeared to be Russia. They had blue and black camouflage uniforms with red hats on. 15 pink watermelons, 15 dancing Barbies, 15 what? 15 purple apples, 15 pies. I looked that up. It was hard to find, but it was a country somewhere in Russia. It started with C. And yes, they had those uniforms on. That's not all that happened. They were looking around while this is going on, and it's like it started raining regularly, really raining. People think it's just gonna be a bad storm. It was preparing like it's gonna be like a hurricane, as they thought it was, or a tornado, but it really wasn't. It was the end of the world in a dream, and they were rushing to the grocery stores, and the stores were like the Sam's Club grocery stores or Walmart or whatever. They were rushing to those type stores, but it looked mainly to me like Sam's Club, which is part of Walmart, but that's what we like. And they were rushing to there, gonna get things, and these weird looking tall like creatures with blonde hair, and they had like black eyes, and their head turns around and stuff. They were like attacking people. They were like people, but they weren't people because they had black eyes. And they were attacking people and stuff. Some of them had blue eyes, some had green eyes. So some of them looked completely like humans, but they weren't. And they were attacking people and stuff while they were in the store. And they was running. They were real tall, and they was running from those things. And some of them were like regular height, but they were running from them because they see them coming from on one side of the grocery store. And while this is happening in the dream, they were still trying to buy groceries. Well, finally, when it dwindles down in the grocery store where there's not that many people left in the grocery store, like and it's still raining, and so it's outside. And during the down, like the last few people that's outside that don't make it to where they need to go to, they're stuck inside, and there's a whole bunch of those things waiting outside for them. And then it switches over to like where it's showing like before all that, like years before, like the 2 times where we were like low on like out of gas in different places and things in this country, and people was trying to get gas. Then it switches over to, well, it switches over to back like, okay, somehow like it'd be years before that. See, this happens on for years. This goes on for years. Weird stuff. Like I was at home, and I was looking for everybody. I'm like, why is nobody here? And next thing I know, I was going into the air, and I was going into heaven, but nobody was there. And I was trying to find everybody else. Like my daughter was like at her dad's house, and I was looking for everybody, and like didn't know where everybody. Finally, like that day, I guess where the day was, or whatever. Somehow, like for some reason, he let me come back down and to wait on my daughter, because that's what I was asking her to do. And then I still end up going back up to heaven. So when the part where we went to heaven, like I could see outside where it was pitch black. It goes pitch black. It's like fireballs coming from the sky in a dream, and it's like shooting out everywhere. It's like, and I don't know if it's missiles or what, and they burn up everything. And there's people outside running. They run inside stores. It's like them scary movies where they run inside stores trying to get medicine, try to get food and stuff, and then running just robbing places and stuff, because they're no longer open because nobody works there because they're at home. Everybody's at home because they see finally it's the last days, and they try to take care of their families and be with their families because they know it's the last days. There's no need of working because the world is in it. Well, so I see these people outside for the last days asking God forgive and all that stuff. Then it switches to like a scene where I go towards a bridge or something, and there's people hiding under like a bridge and hiding under different parking decks near that bridge. And they were standing there hiding. And I'm like, where are they hiding from? You hear stuff like walking, and it's not a human walking, it's just walking. And then all of a sudden, you hear like, when the weird screams, like a dinosaur or something, it starts screaming real loud. And you're like, what is that? I look, and it was, you hear people hollering and crying, and it's like they being ripped apart and stuff. And then you look, and you see they really are being ripped apart. And it's like demons in the dream, and they're ripping people apart and just eating them and stuff. And like, it was creepy. And it was all the people that didn't. At this part of the dream, it was like the people that didn't believe in God, and when they finally start trying to believe in God and ask God for forgiveness and all that stuff, it was too late. Because demon had got them, and they couldn't finish their prayer. So, it was ripping people apart. I mean, families apart. It didn't care if it was a kid or what. It was just eating them. It ate them. Like, ripped them in pieces and ate them. In a dream. And in a dream, I'm like, what in the world? And that part in the dream, it happened like, I say I had to be still alive in the dream when that part happened, and I had to go to the store. And we went to the store like a regular day, and I had to walk in the store and get something. And I came outside, and this is a mess outside. And somehow I kept the demon things from seeing me, but they were trying to find me. They could sense that I was around. It was creepy. And they couldn't get to me, so they was getting all these other people in the process. So, and anybody that's human, they was getting. So, if you're human, they hated you and they got you. So I was like, so I came back home, and then that's when I was ratcheted up and all that stuff. Got my daughter and ratcheted up. And before that, a little before that, it switches to another scene where it's like all this is going on, and it's like a zombie invasion, and where there's like zombies and stuff, and me and my daughter were running around, and I finally found where my daughter was at and where she's running to and stuff. And when I got her, like, she's a fully grown adult, like in her like 30s or 40s one. She wasn't that old. And I just grabbing hold onto her and started crying and started praying. And we was like in a like circle. But I had went through different places to get to her. I had went through a church, ran to the church, and a church that I never been to in my life. It was like a black church, and the guy that was getting buried was somebody that I knew, like somebody that I used to like date. Like, I'm like, what? Like, why are they getting buried in this small town that I live in? Because they're not from here. And I guess because they had people here, and I guess I don't know, in the dream, they didn't have no burial plot, and they just buried him here. Even though he's from a different city. And in the dream, that's what happened. And so I walked up to his body, and his body, and in the dream, his body didn't reanimate itself and turn to a zombie or nothing. It just lay still. And in the dream, it was like everybody that, took the, in their arms, think he's gonna protect them from getting the current pandemic. It turned them into zombies. And some of them it didn't. So it kind of depended on where you got it from. So, like, and he was real adamant talking about, like, he wasn't going to get that. And he ended up dying in the urine for, I don't know, for some kind of health problem. And when he died in the dream, his body didn't reanimate itself. It was just dead like it's supposed to be. So when I'm in I was in this church I was busting this church to be safe for a little bit, to hide, and so I could get a little bit of time to catch my breath, so I could run to the next building and be able to find my daughter. Well, there's zombies busting in the building inside the church. Like, in this dream, I was so protected. They was coming. They was all around me. And I literally could come in the middle of them, and they would bite people and eat people. I could see them run people out in pieces, eat them. And even when they would reach for me, they still couldn't get me. And they would be literally right in front of me, and they still couldn't get close enough to bite me or scratch me or nothing. So when I noticed that, I finally, after I had like caught my breath and stuff from running so much, I finally ran to another area, and then that's when I had found my daughter or whatever. But before I did that, I caught a ride with some people, and I looked at the car. It was people that I went to school with, and they're like, "Come on, come on, come on, come on!" And they called me by my nickname. It was like, "Come on, Jelly," because Jelly's my nickname. Like, "Come on, hop in the car with us." And so I hop in the car, and that is where the dream took me to, going back to where I used to live. And when I went to there, like, I had waited on my daughter, and then we ended up being raptured and stuff. And everybody ended up being raptured except for my sisters, And I looked for my mom. I think I don't know if she was raptured or not. I don't remember that part. But I know my sisters were raptured and my stepdad wasn't raptured up. He kept walking around and talking about he was hungry and stuff. And so it was like, it's just the end of the world. It was like, you could have some food and stuff to people that's left behind, but you have to go to concentration camp to get the food. And I was like, Angel in heaven, but came back to tell him I was keeping an eye on reporting. My job was to report what was going on in this world and back to Jesus. Like a messenger, I was reporting good or bad, everything back to Jesus. And so I knew that, so I took that time, part of that time, to see what was going on. And my stepdad, he was like, but I'm hungry, I'm tired, I worked all day, I'm just so tired, and I'm hungry. And this is before he started back working somewhere. And in the dream, I could see this man working. And when he worked, like, I could see him working. I don't know where he worked at, but you didn't tell where he worked at in the dream, but I could see him working. And talk about he's tired. He been working, and I told mom that. I was like, and she didn't say nothing, but I said in the dream. I said in the dream he wasn't even working at that time when I told about the dream. And he said he's tired. He done worked all day. He's hungry, and didn't have nobody basically. So I guess my mom, I don't know, guess she ended up somehow getting raptured. So, but my sisters were left behind. They were looking for their significant others. I don't know if they got raptured up, but let's just say they were not there. They were left behind, for sure. And they was just looking around. I mean, they looked everywhere and they could not find them. So they just walk around looking around, and I could see them on Earth still looking for the people that they're dating. And so anyways, so I said that he went to the concentration camp, the FEMA camps in the dream. And as along, the zombies, the concentration camp, the FEMA camps were able to ward off the zombies. But as along, they start taking over the outside. They were crowded around the outside of the FEMA camps, and there's so many of them. And then it was so many of them that in the dream that the military had to guard it and keep the zombies away because so many people in the world, and they just surrounded that freaking compound, every female compound, compound. But yeah, and I was begging this dude. I was like, please don't go in there, and he still could see me. But it was he didn't care. He was not worried about that I was an angel in the dream. He was saying, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm sleepy. He just kept saying that, and I done worked all day. And so what happened was in the dream, where it skipped to the part where I was raptured up, and I was telling about it skipped back to that. And you see people, it was so it skipped back to the house. And in the house, it's just my parents' house. In my parents' house, it skipped back to where, you could see, European soldiers, like I said, they look like Russian soldiers. They had on blue and black camouflage suits with red hats, and they were going from door to door they were going from door to door, they were taking over the United States. They were going from door to door, I'm pretty sure I think it's Russia because it sounded like they're speaking Russian. And they were going from door to door looking for people. And they were doing that for this country. I'm sorry to say, but in dream, they were doing it for people in this country. Going from door to door, dragging people out, taking them to concentration camps if they didn't want to go. Even some of the celebrities in the dream were taken to concentration camps. They thought because they had money. No, they were taken to concentration camps. Well, in the concentration camps, like what they were saying, you had to relearn and all that sort of stuff. That's the mess that was going on. Well, in the dream, our former President Obama, whatever, in the dream, in the dream, he was in it. I was like, what in the world? He was one of the people that were reteaching people and stuff in the dream. But this is a dream, so don't be trying to come over here. I don't know if it's true or not. Don't come over here trying to attack people. Okay. So in the dream, he's reteaching people. Like, if that ever happens, like, you can't really be mad because he has to do what he has to do. But that's what happened in the dream. And, like, so in the dream. What the fuck am I gonna do with this? So, like, because of that dream, I've been kind of like, kind of partial when it comes to, like, presidents in general, because I've been, like, kind of partial to that because of that dream. Because, like, in the dream, he was, like, irritated with me. He was like, it's because it switched back to, like, when, like, before I was raptured in heaven and stuff, people were, like, they were taking people to, they were having to go to concentration camps, but they were having to go to concentration camps, like, part-time. They didn't have to, like, stay there. But when this, like, they had to do this, like, they were going to school. Basically, that makes sense. But when this mess happened, like, when it got real deep, they would force people to live there. After, when it got real deep. So, at a later time. But at that time, like, it was crazy. It was like you go to school, basically. You had to be there so many hours a day. So, and I remember in a dream, I was watching something on TV, and I had watched it so many times. It was like they're brainwashing you to, in the dream, to, like, think or a certain way or act a certain way. And you had to watch it so many times. It was like hypnotizing you in a certain way. But for some reason, it didn't hypnotize me. It might have slightly did that at the moment, but as soon as I left out of there, I came back to my normal self. So, after all this was done, they were looking for people, the so-called, quote-unquote, alleged soldiers from somewhere in Russia. Let's start with C. They were blue and black camouflage suits and red hats. They were walking around looking for people. And they were like, and I remember as a dude, he had like red like hair and stuff. I could see him from up in heaven, but he couldn't see me. I could see him, he was looking around, he was like, there's nobody here, it's only clothes here. And they were like, there's only clothes. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then they go from door to door, and in like different places, there would be only clothes of the people that rapture into heaven, because you don't need those clothes, because you're dead, you go into heaven. Well, in the dream, your whole body went up, your bones, everything, nothing was left. Only thing was left was your clothes. Well, like, I could feel my body, like, this might be a dream, but I could feel my body, like, slowly go up, like feel like I'm floating up to heaven in a dream. And so, okay, like, in this dream, like, when you got to heaven and stuff, and, like, it was, like, in the dream, it went back to, from the time I was, like, 13 or something like that, when I first started having these dreams and stuff, and, like, it started going back, and I kept having the same dreams from the time I was 13 all the way to now, about how I was raptured up, went to heaven, and I was the only one that he was looking for, but Dill was mad because I wasn't on his side. And he was looking for me and other people because he wanted us on his side, and he was mad. So he kept looking for certain people, and he couldn't find us because we was in heaven, and he was mad. And so in the dream, like, it took me back to a part where before all that happened, I had moved twice because the world kept flooding around out different states in water. So where I was at, the water kept flooding to the point where there was sharks floating around in it. And North Carolina, state of North Carolina, was the new where I'm at. Like, it's a new coastline. That's how far it came in. And it came in to the point where it knocked everything off, and it was like where I am at now, it was like close to a cliff, edge of a cliff almost, because the water had flooded everything and knocked everything off into like a hole. And so, like, to the point where, like, you could go down the road and you could, like, see sharks just swimming and stuff down the road, like different states like it is now. It was like I was living there, and crocodiles and alligators and all kinds of stuff just swimming in the water. And so, and the whole dream was battling all that stuff. We just battled sharks and everything just to make it out alive. And that was how it originally started off. And then it went to fire, and then fire. And I think before it went to fire, it was like a hurricane or tornado, something like that. The same freaking week. And then it went to fire. It was crazy. It was like a meteor came down or something, because stuff was like on fire and stuff. And I think that happened, and missiles was being shot down because, like, there was like zombies going everywhere. And in the dream, the military was trying to clear out the zombies. They cared if they cared, but they couldn't. There's nothing they could do about it if they hit innocent people. It's like they really hit a few innocent people and saved the lives of many, as opposed to, like, trying to save that small amount of people, innocent people, to kill the large amount of zombies. They weren't trying to do that. And there were states in the dream that didn't have the zombies, and the dream ended. Well, before, the dream ended, like, I don't know, like, where it was like showing like different people had to go to different countries and stuff to get away from the mess here in the United States. They had to go to different countries to feel safe. And then at Salon, that wasn't safe. He just kept spreading around the world to the point where it was horrible. I don't even know how to explain it, but that's my last day dream stuff.